Thank you very much. I want to start off saying thank you to Jeff. He has been fantastic to work with through all of this legislative issues. The foreclosure bill that he's dealt with for years, it's just been fantastic, and I really appreciate all of his support. So in the spring, we gave you an update about what happened last legislative session. So I'm going to really look forward to next year and the things you should know. I know it may shock you all. We have kind of a big election coming up in a few weeks. November 5th will be the general election. I know you see a lot about the presidential campaign, but keep in mind the entire General Assembly is up for election this November. So it's important to keep in mind your local elections as well. So the House of Representatives in the state of Connecticut has 151 seats. We currently have 98 Democrats and 53 Republicans. There are 11 retirements that have been announced for this coming election. But there are a few districts who we anticipate to have some surprises. I want to let you know, when you hear that breakdown of 98 Democrats and 53 Republicans, you might say it's a little skewed. I would say in recent years, you've seen a moderate caucus that has come into place within the Democratic committee or the Democratic group. And it's been very interesting to see how they interact and how they set the agenda. So it has been interesting watching this evolution move forward within having this kind of super majority within the House. So in the Senate, we have 36 seats. Currently, we have 24 Democrats and 12 Republicans and 1 retirement. People may remember about 6 years ago, we had tied numbers in the Senate for the first time ever, and it was really interesting to see. The Senate tends to be an entirely different beast, so I like to focus and highlight on the House. For the next about, 6 weeks till the election, we really see legislators wanting to engage with their community. A lot of them are hosting town halls lately on energy rates. I don't know if anyone else is receiving the calls or the emails on that. That's been a big push for them. They're also looking to have coffee shop hours where they can get together and just understand who their constituents are and what their current needs are. So really use this opportunity to introduce yourself to your local legislators or candidates running for office. It sounds like this entire community has a lot of tours going on or competitions. Feel free to invite them to an existing tour that you may have scheduled. If you would like me to do that, I'm happy to do so. Just let me know. But they do like getting out in the community, meeting with their constituents, and really understanding the need of their district. I think when I first worked with the WPCAs, I found that a lot of state representatives have had experience with their local boards. I'm not seeing that being the case these days. More and more you're seeing people come from their local boards of education, but they don't have a tremendous amount of experience with what their local WPCA does and the challenges they face within their community. So it's really a great time to invite them and to highlight who you are and what you do. The legislative session will begin January 8th and go to June 4th this year. So it's our long session. Something that's important to note about long session is legislators can propose any bill on any topic they choose. Last time we had a long session, there was 2 state senators who were vying for having the most bills introduced. I think one had over 60 and one had over 50 bills. I don't think there were any pieces of legislation proposed by those 2 individuals that actually passed. So just keep in mind, when session starts, you're going to see a lot of things in the news that sound scary, that might sound absurd to you. Most of them don't move past the public hearing. And we work as a legislative committee to acknowledge what bills have a chance of moving forward and what bills are more dead on arrival. So if you have a question about something you're hearing about, let us know. I'm happy to tell you, what the chances are if this is something we should really focus on. But just know there are some crazy proposals that are going to come out that aren't going to do anything. So keep that in mind. So as we come into this legislative session, I would love for anyone to let me know if they have any specific challenges they want to see us bring forward for next year. So if there is anything that you're dealing with energy issues or with workforce issues or any other challenges that you're facing in your facility, let us know, and maybe there's a way that we can be proactive about it. Something I don't think I had mentioned in the last meeting, but I think it's important to know, is PURA last year developed a grant program for any third parties that want to participate more in the rate-making proceedings. So it's basically free money for you to get involved in PURA and talk about electric rates, because I understand it's a very dense and complicated matter, and any proceeding before them is really difficult to navigate. But there are ways that they're making it easier for people to participate and have their thoughts heard. So what can we anticipate for this legislative session? Like I said, we're going to see a lot of bills. There are going to be a tremendous amount of bills proposed, probably not very many passed, but there will be a lot of conversations on a lot of different topics. I do anticipate we're going to see a lot about energy usage and electric rates, including renewable energy and the current programs available. Should those programs increase? Should they be paused? And how are we going to move that forward when it comes to renewable vehicles? Or electric vehicles, Again, we've seen this time and time again, the environmental justice communities and what we want to do as far as making sure that they have the proper notice when there are new facilities put forward. Our group has been very effective in making sure that there's no adverse impacts when they're creating those proposals. So I expect we'll have a similar conversation this year. I also expect that we're going to see the same foreclosure bill we've seen time and time again. And I also think we're going to see the legislature try and combat these ARPA cliffs. I know many people were blessed with ARPA money and ARPA grants, and now they're losing the opportunity to use that funding. So we're looking at, what do we do now? How do we proceed from here without really the community suffering? So there will be a lot going on. We love to have members join the legislative committee. I'm going to just throw it out there, so feel free to join. We are going to have a legislative reception for the first time since COVID. The building is really opened back up. We already have that scheduled for May 21st from 1 to 3. It's usually a really great time. It's a very relaxed setting for you to meet with your legislators and talk about what's going on. In the past, we've had some demonstrations. We have some food. So really, save that date, and if you can join us, please do so. It's really fun. And that's all I have for an update this year. So thank you very much.